In this video, I'm going to review the Unit 3 retake practice for multiplying and dividing fractions. So the first problem is asking you to find the reciprocal. And remember, reciprocal is when you are flipping the fraction over, or you can think of it as the word refliprical. But in order to take a mixed number and make the reciprocal, you have to turn it improper first. Remember, the steps are you multiply at the bottom, you add at the top. You get mad at the fraction because it's making you do extra work. And if you need to write it out, 4 times 3 plus 2 over the denominator stays, which is 4. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 2. So that gives me 14 over 4 improper. Now don't forget to flip. This is where most people make their mistake. So we're going to flip and we're going to get 4 over 14. And that should be my reciprocal. For the next one, we need to multiply our fractions. So we have 2 and 2/3 times 1/4. And to multiply our fractions, remember anytime you see a mixed number, you need to turn it improper. Multiply at the bottom, add at the top. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more gives me 8 over 3 times 1/4. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. I can simplify that by 2 because they're both even, but I can actually simplify it by 4 as well. 8 divided by 4 would be 2. 12 divided by 4 would be 3. So my answer for this one should have been 2/3. For number 3, again, I have to multiply. Remember, when you have that single whole number, you have to give it a denominator of 1 because 3 divided by 1 is the same thing as 3. I'm going to write it a little bit bigger so that you can see my work. 3 over 1 times 5/6. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 6 is 6. Now, this can simplify. I'm going to try evil 3 because I can't see any even numbers and they don't end in 5 or 0, so I'm going to try 3, which in this case 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 would be 2. So that doesn't simplify anymore. Now if I look at my answer choices, I have this denominator of 2, and there's only one, which is this one, that has a denominator of 2, so I'm going to check it, turn it improper. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more gives me 5 over 2. So my answer for this problem should have been this 2 and 1/2. For number 4, it wanted you to find the quotient. So you have to do your division. And remember, when you have a lonely whole number, it has to go over 1. And remember, to divide by a fraction, here's a tip. Keep, switch, flip. So I keep the 4 over 1. I switch from division to multiplication, and I flip my fraction over. So 3/4 becomes 4 over 3. Now I'm just going to use my multiplication rules. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 3 is 3. It doesn't simplify at all. I know my denominator's 3, so it can't be 7/9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my answer choices improper and see which one matches. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 more gives me 16 over 3. So more than likely it's that one. I'm going to be safe and double check these ones. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 more gives me 20. So it can't be that one. And then this one, 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 more, that gives me 22 over 3. So it can't be that one. So my answer for this one should be 5 and 1/3. Okay. Looking at number 5, remember when you have that mixed number, you have to turn it improper. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 more. gives me 8 over 3. And I'm going to keep the division for right now. To divide by a fraction, here's a tip. Keep, switch, flip. So I'm going to keep the first fraction the same, switch from division to multiplication, and flip or do the reciprocal of my second fraction. Multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. So I'm at 16 over 3. 16 over 3 doesn't simplify, so I can look back at my answer choices. I have 3 with a denominator of 3. This one has a denominator of 4, so that one won't work. Magic C, multiply at the bottom, add at the top. This one becomes 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 more gives me 16 over 3. So more than likely that's the answer, but I'm going to check these other ones. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more gives me 7 over 3. That won't work. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more gives me 4 over 3. So it won't be that one. So the first one should be the answer there. For number 6, it's a modeling one. So I'm going to look at my rows and my columns. So I have row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. So there are 4 rows. Of those rows, 1, 2, 3 of them are colored. Now I'm going to do my columns. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and column 5. 5 total columns. Of those columns, only one is shaded all the way down. So I'm looking for fractions multiplied together of 3/4 and 1/5. And the only one that could be the answer for that one is C. And then for number 7, which model represents a product equivalent to 6/20? Remember, when you're finding the product, you are looking at the pieces that are overlapped, or the dark shaded ones. I'll put stars in them. So all the places I'm putting the stars are the places that they are overlapped. And remember, when you find the solution, it's the overlap over the total. So each of these have 20 pieces. I need to figure out where there's an overlap of 6, so it should have been this answer here. If you have any questions, make sure you let your teacher know. But that is the end of this video of reviewing your retake work.